You've probably seen this stuff everywhere, right? Popping up in health blogs, maybe even in your local smoothie shop. Moringa oleifera. It's been called a miracle tree, a nutritional powerhouse, all the buzzwords. But what is the real story here? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and separate the actual science from the sales pitch.
So let's just dive right in with the big one. Could this single plant actually be the world's most useful tree? I mean, that is a huge claim, but it's a claim that has stuck around for centuries. So let's figure out why.
First things first, let's get on the same page. We're talking about Moringa oleifera. It's a tree that's originally from North India, and man, it has a seriously impressive resume. It goes by a few other names. You might hear it called the drumstick tree or the horseradish tree. And its use in traditional medicine, this isn't some new fad. We're talking about a history that goes back thousands of years.
Okay, so to really get a grip on Moringa, we have to start with that history. We're talking millennia here. For ages, pretty much every single part of this tree, the bark, the pods, the leaves, you name it, has been used not just as food, but as a real cornerstone of traditional herbal medicine.
But, ancient wisdom is one thing, and modern nutritional science, well, that's another. So let's shift gears and see what happens when we put Moringa under the microscope. Does it actually live up to this reputation as a nutritional powerhouse?
So, does it pack that punch? The short answer is absolutely yes. The leaves, which are what you'll most likely find here in the West, are just completely loaded with nutrients. And what's really wild is just how nutrient-dense this stuff is. I mean, look at this. Just 1 cup of fresh, chopped leaves, and that's only 21 grams, gets you almost 20% of your daily vitamin B6. You're also getting over 10% of your iron and vitamin C. For people in parts of the world where these key nutrients are hard to come by, this tree is a legitimate game changer.
But, and there's always a but, right? Here's our first little reality check. Nature is all about balance. So moringa leaves also have these things called anti-nutrients. And what they do is they can actually get in the way of your body's ability to absorb some of those very minerals and proteins we just got excited about. It's a really crucial piece of the puzzle that often gets left out of the hype.
All right, so it's nutritious, but with a small catch. What about all those big health claims we hear about? Let's move on to the core of this whole thing and really look at the most talked about, science-backed benefits of moringa. First up, antioxidants. You hear this word all the time. Basically, these are the good guys that fight back against cell damage in our bodies. Damage caused by things called free radicals. When you get a lot of this damage, it's called oxidative stress, and it's linked to chronic stuff like heart disease and cancer. While moringa leaves are just packed with these protective compounds.
So what's doing all the heavy lifting here? Well, it's a whole team of compounds. We're talking flavonoids, phenolics, and there's a really interesting one in there called quercetin, which some research suggests might even help manage blood pressure. So it's not just one thing, it's this powerful cocktail of compounds working together.
Next up, we've got a powerful 1-2 punch of potential benefits, and these are related to metabolic health. Some studies are suggesting that moringa could play a role in helping to manage both blood sugar and cholesterol levels. And as you know, those are 2 major players when it comes to the risk of heart disease and diabetes.
Let's zoom in on that cholesterol claim for a second. The research seems to point towards this rebalancing effect, potentially lowering what we call the LDL or bad cholesterol, while at the same time maybe helping to increase the HDL or good cholesterol. And it's that ratio that's so important for your heart health. Benefit number 4 is a big one, reducing inflammation. Now, short-term inflammation is totally normal. It's how your body heals from an injury. But it's that chronic, long-term inflammation that's a major driver behind so many modern diseases. And it turns out, moringa has several compounds that seem to have these anti-inflammatory properties. And if you're wondering which part of the plant you should be focused on, well, this quote from a 2019 study gives us a pretty clear answer. The leaves, they consistently showed the highest concentration of all these good-for-you compounds, way more than other parts of the tree like the seeds or the pods.
Now here's a benefit you probably haven't heard about. Arsenic contamination in our food and water, it's a huge global health problem. And incredibly, some animal studies have actually shown that moringa leaves might offer some protection against the toxic effects of arsenic. Pretty amazing, right?
Okay, so that is a lot of amazing potential benefits. But now we have to talk about the giant asterisk in the room, and it's this. The vast majority of this really promising research, it's been done in test tubes and on animals, not on humans. Now, that doesn't mean the benefits aren't real.
It just means we need a whole lot more research before we can make any of these claims definitively.
And that brings us to a really important section, a word of caution. Before you go rushing out to buy a bottle of Moringa capsules, there are some critical safety things you absolutely need to know.
So let's start with the most basic question you should ask about any supplement. If I buy this, is it regulated for safety and for quality?
The answer, at least in the United States, is a clear no. The FDA does not regulate supplements the same way it regulates prescription drugs. What that means is the quality, the purity, even the dosage that's listed on the bottle. None of it is guaranteed. So your best bet is to look for a seal from a third-party verifier like NSF or USP. That just means an independent group has actually tested the product.
Okay, so regulation is one thing, but what about the plant itself? Are there any known side effects or risks that come with taking Moringa?
Yes, and this is extremely important, so listen up. Moringa is not for everyone. It should not be taken by anyone who is pregnant. And what's more, because it might affect your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and your thyroid function, it could actually interfere with medications for those conditions. The rule here is simple. Always, and I mean always, talk to your doctor before you start taking any new supplement.
All right, we've looked at the history, the nutrition, the promising science, and the very necessary cautions. So now, let's pull it all together and get to the bottom line on Moringa.
So here's your takeaway, boiled down to 3 simple points. Number 1, it is undeniably nutritious. It's packed with vitamins and minerals, period. Number 2, the health benefits are very promising, but, and this is a big but, they're still mostly potential, not proven, in humans. And number 3, you absolutely have to proceed with caution. Because it's an unregulated supplement with potential drug interactions, having a conversation with your doctor first is non-negotiable.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Miracle tree or just hype? You know, maybe the real answer is somewhere in the middle. Is Moringa a superfood? Maybe that term is more about marketing than it is about science. But is it a super plant? Well, with its incredible nutritional profile and all that promising potential, I think the answer to that is a pretty clear yes.